In my last video, I built this Dapol Booking Hall kit. I just needed somewhere to put it. Let's find out where I have put it. Hi, welcome to WMD, that's Woody's Modelling Diary. And yes, the Dapol Booking Hall kit has arrived in its final location. Not quite finished, but I'm quite pleased with what's going on, and I thought it might be just worthwhile updating on what's been happening. As you can see, the Booking Hall station sits upon this overbridge, and if you did see the video about the building of the kit, you will have seen the staircase which was built at the same time. That leads down to the platform, single platform at a low level, and as you can see, we've got a bit of life here. Bit of integrated transport as well, with a bus stop just outside the station. So what have we actually done here? Well, there's quite a few things, so let's start off with the road surfaces. I'm just going to, sorry about that, I'm just going to remove the bus to give a bit of a better illustration. The road is just card, and the pavement is card as well. It's mounting card, bought from the range. I'm sure there are other places which sell such things as well, artist shops. It's about 2 mil thick, which means the curbs are about 6 inch tall, a little bit tall for normal use, but in this scale you don't really notice it. It was sprayed with a base of grey primer from a rattle can, and then some weathering powders and a little bit of airbrushing with different shades of grey, just to give that mottled effect to the road. If we can see there, we've even got a little pothole which has been filled in with a slightly darker tarmac because it's not aged as far as the other stuff. The white lining, well, that's quite interesting because you'll see a lot of models with white lining which tends to be bright, pristine white. White lining wears out fairly quickly, and it's spaced according to Department of Transport criteria set out in a thing called Chapter 7 of the Traffic Signs and Regulations. But all I did was basically just cut this little bit of a template. It's about 1 millimeter wide, and I think it's about 1 inch long, which is about 25 mil, and the spacing for roads on with a speed limit of less than 40 miles an hour is a 2 meter white line and a 4 meter space. So you can work out what you need from that. The bus lay-by edge of carriageway sort of broken line there, that's the template I use for that. It's a meter line, meter space roughly. There are different sort of spacings you can use, but that looks fine. The street lights, well, these were actually, and they're still loose at the moment because I'm sure that at some stage I'm going to knock them down. But basically they are just styrene rod and tube. The rod makes up the main sort of pole with an extension for the lamp. There's some tube there which the rod slipped into, which is the sort of maintenance access door area. And the lamp itself is just a small piece of plastic card with some half round card to simulate the cover painted silver. I did put a wire in, piece of brass wire, just to be able to poke it into the layout and give it some stability. So let's just poke that back in. We can find the hole. There we go. And I did put a little bit of a base at the bottom of it, which eventually will glue down. As you'll notice at the edge of the pavement, there's vegetation. You very often see where the edge of the pavement abuts something like a wall, you'll get weeds and grass growing in there. So that's quite literally the sweepings out of a pot where I've just gathered bits and pieces as I've been doing other scenic jobs and literally dumped it in there. And again, just on the corner here, you'll find that road sweepers can't get into these sorts of tight corners, so you get a build-up of detritus and weeds start growing in there. So that's that. What else have we got? We've got these electrical cabinets. They were 3D prints. I think they were £2 for the pair of them. The bus shelter, that was another 3D print. You'll have to excuse the camera work here. We're struggling a bit to. Let's get in there. I think that gives a bit of a better view. So it's a 3D print, painted up, windows or the panes of glass just simulated with glue and glaze. The litter box there is again a 3D print. The bicycles, I knew that was going to happen. We've got the street light there. The bicycles are again 3D prints. The telephone box and post box are Pico kits. So you get 2 telephone boxes and you get 6 bearing postal boxes. So you can decide what you want there, but they fit in quite well. The people are pure Dapol, just painted up, and again just with a piece of wire unfortunately drilled into their leg, but it gives a sort of reasonably strong mount for them. And again, just adding a few people just gives that little bit of interest to the scene. And all in all, I'm quite chuffed with that. I think certainly not pendant style, but from a distance and with the right photography techniques, you can more or less make it look quite realistic. But nothing I've done is beyond the capabilities of anybody. I've just taken my time, painted things up, thought about it a little bit, and just whilst I think about it, one of those little details just there, it will focus in. There's a little bit of litter, which is just a piece of paper towel screwed up and just glued in place. And again, just by the end of the cabinet there's another piece of litter, and there's a couple of bits across the other side. And you could really go to town and start putting graffiti and all sorts of things on there. But there you have it. I'm, as I say, quite pleased with that. There's still a little bit more to do, but in the meantime, I think I'm going to call that a day for the time being, because I've got I'm going to take a little bit of a break from model railways and start building that, which is a kit which has just come out from Airfix for the Stalwart, or the Stolly as it's affectionately known. So I shall enjoy doing that. But in the meantime, I hope that you found that of use. Most of this stuff is sort of gone through on my blog. There is a link on my profile to the blog, and you'll find most of the details of how we ended up here on that blog. But in the meantime, I hope that's been of interest. Thanks very much for watching. To those people who've subscribed, and I always say this, I'm amazed that people subscribe to my ramblings, but thank you very, very much. It is very much appreciated. And you take care of yourselves. We'll see you soon. Bye.